Hey, it's Chris Greenwood here, also known as Manafest, author of the book From Red to Black, A Short Journey from Debt to Liberty. And I'm so excited today to talk to you guys about finances and having a new money mindset and a millionaire mindset for a Christian. And some of you might not know my story, but I lost my dad to suicide when I was 5 years old. So I didn't have a strong father figure to look up to and show me certain things, and definitely not teach me anything about money or wealth. And so I had to seek out godly men. I had to seek out mentors that could teach me this stuff. And so I was looking for men that were successful in marriage, but also in business, and are also plugged into God and had integrity and courage. You know, those are the things that I wanted in my life. So I sought that out to learn it, and so that I could become debt-free one day and actually have wealth. Because I'd always, hear about these godly men and businessmen, and it's like, wow, they're giving to the church or they're giving to this thing. It's like sometimes we can see it for them, but we don't see it for us. And that's why I want to encourage you today with this video that why wouldn't you be called to wealth? Why wouldn't you be called to something great? But this is the thing, wealth has always been kind of taboo in the church a little bit, at least the way I grew up around it, and that people would say, money is the root of all evil. But if you actually read that verse in Timothy 6:10, it says it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. You see, money's just neutral, okay? It's not good or bad. You can do great things with it and impact people, social justice stuff, give to the poor, give to the gospel, build amazing businesses that help people, or you can use it for negative stuff. You see, it's all what your purpose is around it. And what I've learned is that, look, you don't use people to get money, but you use money to love people. But we've got to dispel some of these myths around it, because even as I grew up as a child, they always demonized the businessman. They always, made him look to be bad, like it was wrong to want to go after wealth. But if wealth is so wrong, why does God always say, hey, if you do this, then I'll bless you with that? And it's normally talking about financial blessings. If you read the Proverbs, there's just so many in there that look, and then it says, a good man will leave an inheritance to his children's children. I now have a daughter now, so I understand that, I want to leave an inheritance to her. So that means I got to have some money, right? Well, it says to leave an inheritance to your children's children. And so that's like even raising the stakes even higher, that I want to even earn more money so that I can pass it down to the next generation. Because, when I got married, I've been married now for over 17 years to my amazing wife. I didn't grow up with wealth. And neither did she. In fact, when we quit our jobs to pursue music and ministry full time, we went broke. I was like $30,000+ in debt, just struggling. We slept in the car. We slept on hotel room floors, and we, ate at the McDonald's dollar menu, just to try and save some money. But then we decided, look, we want to get out of debt. We want to build wealth for our family and actually pay off the car and actually pay off the mortgage. Why? So that we can focus on our mission instead of always focusing on just enough to pay for us, just enough to pay the bills. And I know a lot of times it can sound, really humble and pious to say, oh, I don't need a lot of money. I just need enough for me. That might sound good on the outside, but when you really dive into it, if you just need enough for you, well, then you're only really thinking about yourself. What about your family? What about your friends? What about this world that, needs to hear the gospel, needs help? And so it's the idea to want to raise the stakes and grow and stretch into greatness. One of the things I like to always say is, look, you can't shrink into greatness. You have to stretch. A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And so I want to stretch you to get out of your comfort zone, and I want to bust a few myths in this first video. We're going to have some fun and just learn some things about money and wealth, and I really want to challenge you to grow, because you've been called to something great, but that means you need to get a new mindset around money, because there's so many great things that God wants to do with your life. And the first myth around money, and this is a really good one here, is that the poorer you are, the more spiritual you are. And I said this earlier, that look, money doesn't enhance your spirituality, and being poor doesn't enhance your spirituality. If anything, money, when you have it, it just exposes what's already there. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you were stingy when you didn't have much money, you're going to be just as stingy when you have a lot. But if you were generous when you didn't have a lot, you're just going to be even more generous when you have even more. So money doesn't like make you more spiritual or not. Again, it's just neutral, and it just normally tends to amplify and expose what's already on the inside. And so of course I want to encourage you to be generous and be giving, and we need to check our hearts on that. The second thing that I want to go over is that, and this is a good one, is that, you know, I'll always be in debt, or debt is normal. And society has led us to believe that, you know, debt is a normal way of life. You know, I share in my book From Red to Black the story of my wife, and she was just graduating out of high school, and they're already trying to give her a credit card when she didn't even have a job. And we live in this society of like microwave dreams and get it right now. But let me tell you, you know, life is not a clickable link, all right? You know, we need to learn to go without for a period of time so that we can pay for things with cash and not be a slave to the lender, as the Bible says, okay? You know, I want to be rich. I want to be lending. I want to be helping people. I don't want to be a slave under debt. And I remember when me and my wife went to pay off our car, and we just like celebrated. It's like, wow, we could actually have a debt-free car, you know? And then when we paid off our home, I remember calling the person at the bank, and they're like, really, you want to pay off your mortgage? You're going to get charged all these penalties and all this stuff. I'm like, no, we want to pay it off. And I'll talk about more about that, but we just started to, you know, instead of taking the vacations and buying all this fancy stuff, we just started doing lump sums on our mortgage. We started doubling up. We took off the insurance. We did that one payment a year. You can do that one lump sum payment a year. And then we went from monthly payments to bi-weekly, just to smash that mortgage. So I just want you to know from personal experience and someone who's been tens of thousands of dollars in debt that it is possible. Okay, which leads me to my next myth, and this is a really popular one around money, is that your house is an asset. And I'm recording in my studio right now, in my house. And look, this house that I'm living in, it's a great house, but it's not an asset. And an asset, let's just define that. An asset is something that brings money into your pocket. Okay, this house doesn't make me any money, all right? It costs me money, all right? It costs me, whether it's the insurance, the property tax, the water, the heat. If anything breaks, I gotta fix it, right? So it's costing me money to live here every month. But if I wanted to turn this into an asset, because an asset is what makes me money, I'd have to move out of it and rent it out. So that, you know, I rent it out to someone for maybe $3,000 a month, and that covers all the expenses, and maybe there's $1,000 left of cash flow is what they call it. Now, is a house a good investment? Yes, it is normally, most of the time, because it tends to appreciate over the long term, but it is not an asset because it's taking money out of my pocket all the time. But this is what I want to challenge you, because so many people say, yeah, I want to own my own home. I want to own my own home because it's a good investment. And sure, that's true, but it's not an asset. But I want to challenge you with this. Why are we so okay with buying a house that we live in that is, you know, kind of risky because it's costing you money every month, but yet we go and say, oh, don't buy a rental property, don't buy a house to rent it out, or don't buy a condo to rent it out because that's super risky, yet you are renting it out and potentially making cash flow off that every month. Like if you save up, you get a down payment, and then you're renting it out to someone, and they're covering your mortgage, your expenses, and you're making even $200 a month. That's a lot better than living in a place where, you know, you got to pay hundreds of dollars a month. But why has society led us to believe that a house is an asset and that they're saying investing in real estate is risky? You know, why don't they want us to know the truth about this stuff? And so this is stuff I wanted to kind of switch your mind frame around, because, you know, we've been involved in real estate for years, and, you know, owning property and seeing the appreciation and cash flow and all this stuff, and it's been a real, you know, pathway to financial wealth and freedom. But yet so many people say, oh, it's risky. I don't want people calling me about toilets and all this stuff. And let me tell you, after years of being involved in this and having friends that are involved with it, the calls are like nothing compared to the upside. But yet, of course, negative news travels so fast, doesn't it? It's just that one little story of a toilet or something going wrong, and then everyone's like, no, I don't want to get involved in that. But then they're missing out on so much of the upside. And so anyways, I'm really excited for you to join this video series. We're going to be going through my book From Red to Black. We're just getting started. You can get a free copy of this. Just click the link below this video or go to Manafest manafest.com or manafest.com/from red to black. This book is actually free. You just got to cover the shipping and handling, and then you'll also get the opportunity to enroll in the VIP course to go even deeper into this stuff. But I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I want to remind you that a fighter isn't someone who never fails. A fighter is someone who never quits.